days a play day, but only these 7 days are bonus days.
After 15 years in the jewelry business, Magic Gem Jewelers is going out of business. Join WVIP this Friday at Magic Gem Jewelers of Bedford Hills from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for this giant sell-off. Everything must go to the bare walls. Prices have been slashed. The savings will not be seen again. So join me, Mike Sarnoff, along with Lori Blanchard, Friday for a live broadcast 11 to 1, direct from the Magic Gem Jewelers during the kickoff of their tremendous going out of business sale. This one should not be missed. ShopRite Shopping Center, Route 117, Bedford Hills. And we are talking to Mary Michele. If you have a question, we have open lines at 241-1310. 241-1310. Give us a call. When we get back, we want to talk about the sign of the ivy. Is that correct? Something like that.
Money sense. It's something we all need, especially when it comes to investing and planning for retirement or protecting assets and income. Money sense is what we have now every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Certified financial planner Bob Reeby offers a full hour of timely financial news, information, and opinion. It's live, it's local, and it could be the most important hour of your week. Money Sense with Bob Reeby every Wednesday morning at 9 on the one and only VIP 1310 AM.
And welcome back. Mary Michele is with us on a Friday morning talking astrology. What was this, the sign of the ivy? The Celtic what?
Well, the Celtic gave the names of trees or vegetation to each of their 13 lunar months. And today is the last day of the sign of the ivy. Now, they didn't correspond to the months the way we know it or the way normal astrology works or, you know, they had their own system. But so it went from September 30th to October 27th. So today is the last sign. And the ivy is an evergreen that symbolizes the immortality or perennial aspect of nature and the human psyche. The ivy was held in very high esteem by the ancient people in Asia and Europe, and like the vine, which is another one of their symbols, was identified with the Greek god Bacchus or Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry. So I think, making a leap here, this is not exactly something that I have read, but you know, there's a little bit of revelry attached to this idea of Halloween. Trick, treat, you know, and usually it's for children and it's about candy, but it could also be for adults and about, you know, changing their mind and maybe going out and having kind of a New Year's Eve kind of evening.
Really?
Well, I don't know. It's just all in the way you look at it. But the idea is that there's a period of transformation that's going on now. And the symbol, other than the ivy, other than the botanical symbol, is the butterfly for the ivy. So this is, what does the butterfly do? It transforms itself. It goes from being a caterpillar into being a butterfly. So right now we're in the caterpillar stage. But the butterfly we know is inherent in it and will come out in the fall. Anyway, it also relates to the Greek mythology of Persephone, and this was about the time that she was abducted and went down into the underworld. And if you think of the story and how her mother, Demeter or Ceres, searched the world. You know, she looked everywhere for her daughter and couldn't find her. And while she was doing that, she really kind of messed things up, and nothing grew. So this is starting the period when Persephone is pulled down into the underworld and when Demeter is not doing her job. And this was the myth that was created by the Greeks to explain the time frame or what was happening in nature. And I think it's very interesting today, particularly with so much emphasis on the environment in businesses. And, you know, I was reading something about the Miami paper the other day, and they were saying that one of the things that people want to know the most about is, you know, how the nature and environment is working. And I think that, you know, going back to some of these ancient ideas and beliefs, which were really about nature, will help us to understand what we can do in the future to not, you know, hurt the environment further. Does any of this make sense?
Who am I to question? We've got a caller on the line now. Margaret is calling. Date of birth is February 2nd, February 12th, excuse me. February 12, 1912. 21212. Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, Mary. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, well, I'm so happy to have you call me. That's really nice.
I'm in a dilemma. I have to make a change in lifestyle, moving, and also about my health.
Uh-huh. Okay, you were born with the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo, so you were born at the full moon, which means your life has probably always been a bit about polarities and extreme things. Sometimes your focus would be, first on yourself and then on the other people in your life or whatever it was that you were doing. You were pulled. It was like you were always being pulled like a piece of taffy,
yes.
Almost to the point where you thought you might break. So anyway, then you have Mercury in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn. Are you worried about the financials of this move?
Well, I would be selling a home,
Uh-huh. Well, I think that you're someone that probably has learned throughout your life to deal pretty well with money. I mean, the issues surrounding money are things that were always, and how to handle money, were of concern. I mean, not that they're not of concern to everybody, but I think that you thought about them in greater depth at times. And I think you've probably learned that lesson now. So I think in terms of selling your home, unless there's some specific reason that you feel that it's not going to work, you should probably handle it well when you decide to sell it.
Should I do it soon?
Oh, you want to know if it's going to happen soon? Okay, let's see. It's a good time now, this month, the month of November, actually all the way through until the end of the month. I think there's a strong possibility that you might sell it or have an offer like the 22nd of November. Have you already had an offer?
No, because I haven't put it on the market. I was wondering whether I should wait until next year.
Well, I think it's a good time to sell it, but if you want to delay the closing, if you don't want to actually move until the springtime, that's something to do too. I mean, you might find someone that would be interested in doing it that way.
Yes, uh-huh.
So actually, I think it probably would be better to physically move in the springtime, but it's a good time to sell now, so I'm not sure exactly how to correlate that for you. If you don't sell it now, you should start again in February. I would do it before the end of November or leave it until the middle of February, like after your birthday sometime. As far as your health, I don't know. Is there something in particular? Do you have problems with your breathing, chest, throat?
No, I don't know. No. It's more arthritic,
Arthritic. Well, I think that...
expected, I know.
No, it's not a question of expecting it, but I think you can think of ways to work with that. You can, arthritis is something that the more you breathe is important. You want to get oxygen into those joints and into those areas. So if you kind of gently stretch things and breathe, as you're stretching, you want to breathe into where it hurts. So that will allow the tension that gets built up and the lack of air to the joints.
Yes, I'm a tense person by nature.
You're tense?
Yes.
Okay, well, you got to do a lot of this breathing.
I'll do that, yes.
And it's very important for an air sign, too. And the other thing is that you need to keep your brain physically active. So as much as you can do you do crossword puzzles?
No, I do a lot of reading, though, like that. And I like to walk, but now I have to cut down on that a bit.
Well, I would think that the walking would come back if you can get this imagery going of breathing into when you're stretching, whatever it is that hurts, you want to breathe into it, and that will bring more life there.
I see.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
Margaret, thank you for calling.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Nice lady. 46 degrees outside, and again, just want to give you the forecast. We do have a flash flood warning and a high wind warning in effect for the entire area. Rain expected to begin this afternoon, becoming windy, heavy rain tonight, occasional thunderstorms, very windy, gusts over 40 miles per hour, and this will continue into tomorrow morning. We do have the possibility of highway and urban flooding. Temperatures tonight in the mid-50s, tomorrow near 60, then clearing out Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, so not all that bad. We're talking to Mary Michele. If you have a question, 241-1310, the number to call, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
It's awfully dirty. Why don't you take it in for a wash?
Well, there's no decent place around.
Haven't you heard about the change? Everybody's talking about Splash, the hand wash of Bedford Hills.
Oh, I used to go to this place in Bedford Hills, but it was...
No, they've completely redone the place. They vacuum your car, they hand detail the wheels. These guys massage your car with lamb's wool mitts, thick foaming soaps, while you watch from their new gallery and store. Your car goes through this great touchless dryer, and then they towel dry it. They do the windows, they dust the dash. They even wipe off your door jambs.
They really do all that? Do you need an appointment?
No, it's while you wait, because it's on conveyor. It takes only 10 minutes, and all for just $12.75.
I've got to see this.
Yeah, go get splashed. It's unlike anything you've ever seen.
Splash, the hand wash of Bedford Hills, is located at 527 North Bedford Road. That's Route 117, across from the Bedford Barn. Phone number 241-2266. Mention this ad before November 15th and get $2 off.
Toyota North in Mount Kisco is a great place to rent a new Toyota.
No, Toyota North in Mount Kisco is a great place to buy or lease a new Toyota.
Right. Toyota North is also a great place to rent a new Toyota.
Buy or lease.
That's correct, but now you can rent a Toyota from Toyota North for a day, a week, a month, or even a half day. Also special low weekend rates.
Look, Toyota North in Mount Kisco has had a reputation for fair and honest pricing and extraordinary customer service for over 25 years. It's a great place to buy or lease a Toyota. Just ask a Toyota North customer.
I know, and isn't it great that now you can rent a Toyota, even Camry wagons from Toyota North, and still get that famous friendly service and more than competitive rental rates, even insurance replacement rates when your car's out of commission.
You mean you can rent a Toyota at Toyota North?
Right.
Competitive rate, daily, weekly, monthly, even half-day and low weekend rates? And that super nice Toyota North service, too?
Absolutely.
It's like I've been trying to tell you. Toyota North in Mount Kisco is a great place to rent a Toyota.
Toyota North, Sawmill Parkway, Kisco Avenue, exit Mount Kisco, New York.
And let's get back now to Mary Michele on WVIP's Meet the VIPs. We've been talking about a number of things. 241-1310, the number to call if you have a question. And Mary Michele, where were we? You were going to tell me something.
We were talking a little bit about symbols, and I was talking about the butterfly and how the butterfly transforms itself, and how when we dream, we come up with these ideas that are not necessarily have any logical meaning, but they speak to us. You know, I know that Carl Jung, the psychologist, when he worked with people before the Second World War in Switzerland, you know, this was like in the late 20s, early 30s, he found a lot of people were having these dreams that were images of this horrific destruction that was going to happen. And it wasn't just about their own personal issues. You know, lots of times in dreams we will think about general things and not as we will in our conscious life, instead of having to think about our own problem. But he noticed that there was a big trend of people, and what he ended up calling it was the collective unconscious, was that a lot of people in their dreams were coming up with the idea that there was a big storm brewing. You know, the Second World War was brewing, was starting to happen. And I think that this kind of imagery is what happened in the old days, when a lot of these belief systems or spiritual ways of looking at things started to come about.
All right. We have a phone call. Okay. Helen is watching on cable channel 12 up in Somers. Date of birth is August 20th, 1917. 8/20/17. Good morning, Helen. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Helen. Let's see. Did you have a particular question?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, how I'm going to make out with the doctor today.
Oh, okay. I don't think you're going to get much clarity today. What is the question that you need to ask the doctor?
I was there last week, and they took all kind of tests.
Well, I don't think there's anything negative. On the other hand, I don't think there's anything terribly positive. I think there's going to kind of be a feeling of not too much clarity. I wouldn't worry, though, because I think by Monday there will be. You'll have a greater sense. It might be that the way that he explains it to you, I know sometimes when we go to the doctor, it's hard to hear what the person's saying. So it could very well be that it might take you the weekend to digest and hear exactly what it is that he said to you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I'm hopeful, but I can't say that there's going to be anything more specific than that. Was there any other question?
How's my ear going to be?
Your ear?
Huh?
Okay. Do you have a hearing aid?
No.
You don't? You don't have a hearing aid?
Well, I had wax in that ear, and it caused me to lose my balance.
Oh, that's not fun. Well, these issues surrounding balance, I think should be cleared up. I think it's a temporary condition, and I think they should be cleared up, but it might take a little time for it to heal, and it'll probably be by the end, like the last week in November. But I think that it will get solved.
Very much.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling, Helen. Balance. Which house or what planet controls balance? You had mentioned these balance things.
Well, the symbol for the sign of Libra, of course, is balance. But I tend to think of the senses in general as being part of the what we call the Scorpio-Taurus polarity. They're opposite each other. If you think about it, we're in the sign of Scorpio right now, the 1st of November, which was the most important. It was what they called the beginning of the year, the Celtics, going back to them again. And then May 1st was the opposite. It's exactly half of the year away. And the reason I say this about the hearing is because Taurus and Scorpio are both about the senses, the way we experience our senses, sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, and also that what we call sixth sense, or that otherworldly place, that when you're in between space and time kind of thing. He's rolling his eyes at me.
Most of my days. No, I asked because I know you have mentioned that certain signs or certain planets or certain things relate to certain parts of the body.
Right.
And that's why when this lady said her hearing...
Right. Well, hearing it's not considered, anything to do with the head, supposedly, is ruled by Aries. But
wait, isn't Aries... What is Aries? What kind of sign?
Fire.
Fire.
It's the first sign. It's the spring. It's new beginnings. It's ruled by the god of war, Aries, Mars, the planet Mars. Anyway, Taurus actually technically is ruled by what the sign Taurus rules is the throat and the neck area. But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because one of the things that most Taurus people like to do is eat, and experience it. It's a very sensuous sign. Taurus likes, food and wine and beautiful things to look at and pleasurable circumstances. The sign of Scorpio is also about the senses. Its ruler is the reproductive organs. So it's another way of being sensuous, maybe. It's more intense. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the senses. Well, the five senses, and then, adding the sixth sense. Hearing is part of that. Hearing is something that, like any of the senses, and going back to this idea of thought processes as well, you don't always hear what the other person is saying. And, lots of times this can be frustrating to the person that has the hearing problem, and it can also be frustrating to the person that is listening.
It's also called being married. You have very selective hearing every so often.
Exactly.
What about some of the other signs and what they control? The stomach, I know you have talked about this. Virgo. Why?
Well, Virgo is a very nervous sign, and the nature of Virgo is that it is ruled by, from what we understand now, the ancients believed this, and up until right now we haven't found another planet, so it is still ruled by the planet Mercury, which is an air. The nature of it is air.
Okay, now finish your statement, because something just dawned on me. The astrologers are now saying they have discovered planets in other solar systems.
Well, that was the astronomers. Let's give the astronomers, they're the ones...
The astronomers, I'm sorry.
Right. We have to... I don't want to differentiate between the two, because I think it's a very similar science, but we have to... Carl Sagan would be very upset if he heard you say the astrologers found it. He would
Out of all the billions and billions.
Anyway, it is a very interesting phenomena, because it's really going to shift the way that we look at the universe.
Yeah, now that brings up the question. A couple of years ago, there was this thought of another sign out there. There was going to be another this and another that. And now we understand that there is another Earth-like
Well, they found
body
another star,
which
like
has
our sun,
planets around it.
that has planets around it. So that means that the potential for life is very, very strong. And I don't think that it really changes necessarily the way people have felt about the universe since the beginning of time. If you look at some of these UFO programs, evidently there were symbols written in rocks, 10,000 years ago about little guys in funny hats and this is like an old...
Are they having a party? What?
Yeah,
Little
right.
guys in funny hats?
Well, the idea is the space helmet or the flying saucers or whatever. And, it's hard to know how much of this is truth, but then on the other hand, what is truth? We're back to this kind of discussion again that... but it is interesting that in the last 10 years, probably the programming that is on the most, that is done in reruns over and over again, are all of these sci-fi and all of the children's comic strips and so on. They're about people that have got, weapons or the means to go from here to there that is way beyond the technology that we have.
But back in those days, they were still thinking about this. There was always this desire to explore.
Right, but I think in the early days, when we're talking 2,000 years before Christ or something, it was not because technology was something that was a part of their way of thinking.
That's true.
It was more maybe they actually saw them, or maybe they dreamed about them. Maybe we're back to the collective unconscious.
Roswell, New Mexico lives. Mary Michele, thanks for joining with us. Mary Michele back next week, taking your calls. And again, we thank you for joining with us. Have a great day. Thanks for the work. Kind of a little different thing today. Obviously, we are celebrating our 38th birthday at WVIP. And Martin Stone, I think you may be interested in the following comments from one of your dear friends, Morton Dean.
We're here basically from day one. What was it like back in the heady days of 1957, 58?
Well, actually, I was there way before day one. I was in Mount Kisco before the station ever got on the air. And while it was surrounded, the building was surrounded by nothing but mud. And one wondered, would we ever make it on the air? But the day we went on the air was really exciting. We did a special at Northern Westchester Hospital, and we had a lot of VIPs from the area come on the show. And it was just an exciting day to witness and be a part of the birth of a radio station. And the community responded terrifically. Everybody seemed to be pleased that this community, at long last, had a radio station to call its own.
That is something that everybody kind of points to, the involvement of the community here in not only Mount Kisco, but now all of Northern Westchester and Putnam. That's a very important thing for any radio station or TV station.
Well, that it is important, especially when you have to compete with a big city that is nearby and blankets your area with radio signals. From the get-go, from the very first conversation I had with Martin Stone, I was told that this station had to be different from the New York stations, and the difference would be that we would provide community service. And he repeated that often: community service, community service, community service. We have to make ourselves a part of the community and make the community a part of the radio station, and that we did.
The entire first year was probably, I was not here for that. Surprisingly enough, people probably think I was. I wasn't. The first anniversary, do you remember that at all?
The first, I don't. I should, but I don't. I was probably working that day, and everybody was out celebrating. We worked long hours, and I don't remember the first anniversary.
So something's never changed. You remember the 10th? That was when they had the benefit over at Fox Lane.
I do remember that, and I remember a couple of other smaller anniversary celebrations at local restaurants, but I remember a lot of other things about not only Mount Kisco, but the entire area. It was just a fun place in which to work, and everybody knew the radio station. And all the people who worked on the station were treated well, like friends, neighbors, relatives, celebrities. It was just a wonderful place.
Any thoughts to Martin Stone, who is listening right now?
Well, yeah, had he paid me more, I'd probably still be there. But, the story I always tell is that I was fired even before the station got on the air, which I'm sure is a world's record. We were meeting, we had our offices in a building down in downtown, upstairs. There was a restaurant downstairs, and we were waiting for the station to be ready for us to use, and Marty fired me before the station ever got on the air. As I say, it's a world's record. And I just couldn't think of going home and telling my parents and friends that I had somehow failed. So I hung on for several years until he fired me for good. But I love Marty, I love the station, I love the community, and that's why I live in the area even now.
And that, of course, is Mort Dean. You're snickering in the background there, Mr. Stone. Yeah, you're on the air. I mean, I was nice. I didn't put you on,
The reason I fired Mort was Mort always had a mind of his own. I'll never forget his coming to me one day and saying, gee, this guy Castro, he's pretty interesting down in Cuba. Don't you think I ought to interview him? I said, what do you mean you could interview him? Well, he said, I ought to go down to Havana and interview Castro. I said, you're working for a little station in the suburbs. Where do you think you are, at NBC or one of those places? No, he said, I want to interview Castro. I said, look, if you want to interview Castro, you go down yourself and pay for it yourself. So you know what? He went down. and then I got a call one day from Cuba. Where was Mort? In jail. How do I get him out of jail? That's Mort Dean, and I don't remember what that was the reason I fired him, but there were several other reasons, except, of course...
Joins an illustrious list of people who have been fired
but Mort's
here.
great. Mort's wonderful. And, of course, he's become big star, and deservedly so.
You're such a forward thinker. You're someone that always seems to have ideas a little bit ahead of their time. What do you see happening in television in general and radio, and also particularly local community radio television?
Mike, have I got enough time to answer that question? Well, the whole world of communications will change. Mary Michele, there's no question in my mind that there are going to be unlimited forms of distribution. I mean, what's going on in computers, what's going on in various kinds of satellite transmission, what's going on among the telephone companies and the wiring that exists, wiring versus satellites and so forth. So the world of distribution will change, and changing rapidly. But, Shakespeare said it best, the play's the thing. If you own Gone with the Wind, you don't care what the forms of distribution are. As a matter of fact, the more forms of distribution, the better your bargaining power. So what you've got to have is property. You've got to invent, if not create or whatever, material which the public wants, national and local. I have great faith, and I always have been and always will continue to feel that all sales begin at home, close to home.
Speaking of sales, before we go any
you better
further,
go to work.
That's right. We have some business to do here.
Absolutely.
We'll be back with Mary Michele and Martin Stone a couple seconds away.
There's nothing like a classic movie to bring home all of life's feelings. Like when you lose your heart.
What is it you want, Mary? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
flirt shamelessly,
Don't let's talk about me. Let's talk about you. What kind of man are you?
or simply roar with laughter.
I could dance with you till the cows come home. On second thought, I'd rather dance with the cows than you come home.
Only one cable channel touches your heart by bringing you continuous classic movies, uncut, uncolorized, and commercial-free. American movie classics. 50 years of Hollywood, from dramas to comedies, westerns to mysteries.
Now you've got it. That's the idea exactly.
See these great movies and more on American Movie Classics. We bring back the feeling.
And you can call Cablevision of Yorktown at 962-4444. 8:52 is the time, 39 degrees outside. Flash flood warning in effect for the VIP area, and we also have a high wind warning in effect for tonight. Increasingly cloudy today. Rain develops by afternoon, will become heavy at times tonight. Occasional thunderstorms. Watch out for local highway and urban flooding. The overnight low today will be in the mid-50s, and then tomorrow, heavy rain again and more chance of thunderstorms, and again, we do have the high wind warning in effect for tomorrow. Temperatures will be near 60.